Welcome back to the Channel Surfers, the podcast where we dive into strategies, stories, and leaders shaping the future of the channel. Whether you're building a partner program, leading a sales team, or navigating the ever-changing world of ecosystems, you're in the right place with the Channel Surfers. I'm John McCabe, co-host, and I'm joined as always by my very good friend and fellow co-host, Jeff Lennon. How you doing, Jeff?
I'm doing fantastic, John. And I keep saying fantastic. I'm going to say I'm doing great today. I'm doing great. It's a great day. We've got some amazing stuff going on, right, with the World Cup, as one of our guests is now kind of, highlighting his favorite team, which I think is fabulous. But no, man, I'm excited, as I say, about, the guests we have today. And excited to kind of jump in because it's going to be a lot. People, bring your boots because we're going to unpack a lot of stuff today.
Yeah. You can always say you feel fan-damn-tastic. You could switch it up a little bit. It's up to you. Yeah, so you're spot on with our guest today. Another multiple guest appearance on for the Channel Surfers. Today's episode is all about building partner organizations that can actually scale, not the PowerPoint version of scaling, the real version, right? The one where you have limited resources, demanding revenue targets, global expansion goals, and partner ecosystems expect value every step of the way. Charlie Coulange and Pablo Hanono, better known as the Channel Duo, have both lived that reality and are here to share what separates successful channel organizations from everyone else. So welcome to the show, Charlie and Pablo. Thank you for being part of this.
Welcome.
Hi, thank you so much.
Yeah. So why don't you help our audience get to know you a little bit better? And Charlie, we'll start with you. Just give us a little bit of background of you, who you are and what you're doing.
Well, thank you, John. So I have been in the channel for maybe about almost 19 years. I started in the channel from the ground level. So I was managing, partners. And I started really learning what it meant to actually work with partners, support them, and understand their business and help them drive revenue. So over the time, I have moved on from managing partners directly to actually managing and building leading global channel programs. And I guess I could say really quick is that what shaped me, I am passionate about channels. I love channels. I've seen channels from very different angles, from partner recruitment, enablement, incentives, global operations, and revenue execution. And it's really about how to work with partners when the program is clear, when the economics actually make sense, and the partners can actually take money and make money and show themselves as a revenue engine. So
excellent.
Yeah, I'm very excited about working in the channel.
Very awesome. Good. I love that. Pablo, why don't we hear a little bit about your background?
Yeah, thank you for the introduction. I've also been on the channel space for almost 2 decades, as well as Charlie said. We both actually started working on channel for a company which was acquired by the channel company today. We worked together for a few years. Then we really the relationship going, and then we reunited a couple months ago, and then that's where we started having discussions and kind of we realized we had a very similar point of view on partnerships, and that's where really we kind of decided to give the channel duo a space in partnerships. From my experience, actually it's a interesting story. My first job for the channel company was to support an Intel Inside co-marketing program. So it was like this budget that all the retailers were buying chips from Intel will get, then using marketing funds and go generate demand gen activities, publishing in magazines and real newspapers, physical newspapers that existed by that time. So I helped them kind of craft those ads and kind of ran small campaigns. That's interesting, and that's actually what got me into the geo distribution model, really the strong channel concept that I have. And then through my own story, and then I worked for different companies, probably the one that's more relevant, over a decade at Oracle, running their global partner program. And then in the last few years, I joined Pegasystems, where I'm also responsible for their partner program, aside from our own project and the channel duo.
Oh, wow.
Pega, we know that name.
Yeah.
We were both at EMC at one point, Documentum.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing, right? I think it's good. I mean, I've worked in startups and I've worked for the big, Fortune, I'll say the Fortune 50, like EMC was a big company. I worked at GE Healthcare, but it gives you such an interesting context. And I think the biggest difference is you work in a big company and if you still have to kind of work like you're or almost in a startup mode, because people think just because you're in a big company, like everything's getting done and you still end up doing things. Um, but that being said, I made a funny note here because it's like, so you're the channel duo. So you're kind of partnerships in partnerships. It's kind of like this. Yeah, I like it. Um, so I'll kind of throw this out there and just, it's kind of a broad question. And John knows I like multi-part questions, but what I'm trying to figure out is what would you say based on that? Because I love the fact that you've got a large amount of experience. What are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned, both scaling and building partnerships in the ecosystem? And focus around like the building of trust, influence, and what I think is my favorite right now is the execution across that ecosystem.
Yeah.
And you guys can both answer that. I'll let you kind of go first, Charlie.
All right. Well, I guess one of the biggest lessons that I learned was never build a partner program only from the vendor's point of view, right? So a lot of companies design partner programs around what they want partners to do, but the better question is always asking themselves is, why would a partner prioritize us? What is the business case for them? And if the partner cannot see the path of revenue,
Love that.
or the services differentiation or the customer value, the program and the partner relationship will struggle. It's like Pablo and I, right? We have a partnership. We understand each other and we have the same goals and we want to achieve them with the same passion and the same drive. But if Pablo's strategy or go to market does not align to that goal, then we're not going to go anywhere and we're not going to see the results that we want. So yeah, that's the biggest lesson I've learned is we need to realize what the partner wants from us as much as the partner needs to understand what we want from them.
No, I love that.
I think that boils down to listening. Everybody's got to listen to you and the partner to understand how to work better together. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's not about me, right? It's about them. It's just like in sales, but it's not when you're selling to a customer, same thing, right?
Yeah,
I mean, it's not about me, it's about them. And I think that's great advice. Pablo, what
I was
from
going to
your
say
background?
there's actually a story. One of a former channel chief I worked for, he actually once told me, hey, running programs is simple. There's just three things you need to pay attention to. Like the first is you need a good product. So of course, and I guess this is something you decide as a partner professionals, like what company you're going to work for. I mean, if the company doesn't have a clear market fit and they don't have a strong product, of course, that's not something you can change, probably. So probably you go find a company that's holding the market and it's really gonna make things easier for you. So that's the first decision. You need a product that's attractive. The second one is you need to build enablement. So partners need to find a way to know how to sell your product, how to implement it, get all the tools that you're going to make available for them. And then third, and this is exactly what Charlie said, you need to give them a way to make money. I mean, everyone's here, this is a business. So your economics are the third leg of this table. And I do see a lot of people running programs where they start with a framework and they love coming with a silver, gold, platinum, metal system, or you launch specializations, you want tiers, paths, tracks, everything. And then you launch the program, and then phase two, so year two, is when you think about, okay, what incentives am I going to drive through my partner ecosystem? And the truth is, the incentives piece is equally important to launching the partner program from day one, and though that needs to be clear. Sometimes I've been always on the kind of on the side of the vendors planning programs, but you need to kind of go back and say, okay, how truly are partners going to make money with everything we're doing? I mean, is the service delivery play good enough for them to go find the 6x, 7x multiplier as some vendors offer? Or you're just like beginning business and nobody knows you, and you're going to actually need to give them better margin because otherwise it will just keep selling what they're selling. So kind of a couple of ideas to just bounce off.
I think that's phenomenal. I mean, first of all, the money, Compensation drives habit, right? I say that 1,000 times.
Yep.
But I love the Jerry Maguire angle, right? Show me the money kind of thing. Because, well, I mean, it's at the end of the day, John says it a lot. I mean, if I was to probably do a quick AI, scan of all of our podcasts, John talks a lot, right? You got to figure out, because if you're not making money, I mean, we're all in business. So I thought that was awesome. I wrote that down because when we come back, right, it's really about keeping these things, keeping it simple. And one of I guess you would say our charter is we're just trying to help people, in the industry be better, especially newer people, that are transitioning into channel, or people that have been in channel for years. How do you keep doing it, and how do you get better? So I thought that was great advice. I love that.
Yeah. And, just to kind of dovetail off of that, like I do preach, we're all in this to make money. And I never believe when a rep is like, oh, I'm not in it for the money. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. And just kind of like something you said earlier, Pablo, like the metal tiering systems. We just had an interview with two women in channel and security, and we were laughing because they don't believe in that either, and I don't. I believe in making it simple. And I find like when you have those tiered programs, usually like a sales executive is involved in that planning, and like he's like, make them work for us. We're not here to feed them. They got to work for us. And it's like, yeah, that doesn't really work always. You got to feed them
Yeah,
first,
the metal tiers and the different levels of partnership, it's a really very old
It
model.
is.
I mean, it's like we're talking about like when channels started being channels, and the reality, it had a lot to do with showing the companies that the resellers were selling to what level they had in specific technologies. We're talking about Microsoft, we're talking about Dell, and we're talking about EMC, right?
Yep.
So what it drove is like, oh, I need a reseller that is gold or platinum, because that means that they understand the product, they can implement it, and they can help me be more like swift in the implementation. But that doesn't work anymore. I mean, we're talking about SaaS, and we're talking about the cloud, and now AI, and there's not so much product that they need to implement. So that doesn't work anymore.
Plus,
and
there's
it's
so many.
Exactly what Pablo was mentioning.
Yeah. No, God, I'm sorry.
It's about rewards, right?
Yeah.
It's about, what are you going to do for me? Show me the money.
Yeah, you're so right. It's like there's so many startups now, and they're all, based on an AWS platform where you just log in and the product's live, right? And you can figure it out. So you don't need to have those specializations, although our partners that want that. They want to become specialized in what you do.
And I can say, so I'm coming from the running the partner programs angle, because that's kind of been my land. So I'm not saying that you don't need tiers, levels, tracks. What I'm saying is that is equally important to the incentives and the financials piece. So that's one angle. And the other thing I'll bring up is, especially when you are running this path and tracks, I mean, I think there's an angle, and depends on where you are. So if you're on the vendor side, sometimes tiering partners helps you plan for the investment. So for example, I don't know, if you're running a demo tool or some MDF allocation to partners, that's where you are using those tiers and levels to know, okay, I expect to have, I don't know, top 20% of my partners are on the top tier, and then the rest is the long tail. Okay, that way you can do the math and understand how much money you're going to need to allocate in the program. So it helps you with planning and allocating resources. But that really isn't as important to customers, I will say. And I agree with you. Yeah. I mean, customers are not going to pick the partner because they're just gold or platinum or silver. They will pick a partner who knows their industry, who talks their jargon, who's on their geography, or who can do business in their space, or who really has experience solving similar problems to the ones they have. And that's probably through specializations or competencies. And that's how I see the programs. Like tiers and levels are more for just guiding the relationship between the vendor and the partner, but the signals to market come more into the kind of competencies or specialization framework.
Yeah. Yeah, I'll kind of put that under what I call the operational rigors, right, of the channel. Like what you just described, like it's not technically the end game, but it is a framework to help drive that process. But sometimes, right, if they overcomplicated. I think that's where I think you mentioned at the beginning, Charlie, like when you overcomplicate or make your process too extravagant or with too many touch points, it's, let's keep it simple. My big thing is simple, easy, repeatable. But sometimes to your point, like when we were at FireEye, I mean, it's we used to joke, cause you had the 3 tiers and I used to have a 4th tier, which, I called aluminum foil partners. Because, or tin, but I used to call them the aluminum foil because I was like,
they want the bigger
silver,
discounts
like,
for not doing that type of work. They want to get the most money they can with the relationship.
But
so I was gonna say, let's just pivot for a second.
Go ahead, John. You go, man.
We've spent the past decade talking about a partner first, ecosystem led growth, and channel transformation. How much progress do you think we really made in that space?
We're gonna quote you, so be ready.
So, I would say we're still having the same conversations. The conversation has not changed. And it blows my mind because I actually do say, let's stop having the conversations and let's start taking action. There's so many people that are really investing time in understanding the channel and having the conversations, and you see the posts in LinkedIn and you see the books being written and the guides and the enablements and the courses, and there's so much, but it's always around the same conversations. And when you see the LinkedIn posts and they have those polls that said like, how is your partner program doing today? What are the things that you're struggling the most? And it's the same thing over and over. And it's like, okay, when does it stop to being a problem? And when does it start actually turning into a solution? How do we shift from the complaining to actually resolving the issue? And I guess one of the things that the channel duo is here for is to try to do that. Let's change the conversation. Let's fix the problem. Let's see where we need to do and what are the things that we need to shift so people can ask other questions like, what is my revenue going to look like this year? Because my partner program is actually working and my ecosystem, it's healthy and I can see the partners working, and I don't need to manage 500 partners anymore because, the 10 that I have are actually, making me money. So those are the things that needs to happen.
Right.
And we need to evolve. We need to stop the status quo.
I love that.
That is the biggest thing.
No, I mean, I think you're spot on. I mean, go ahead, John. I just think that you kind of, you hit a nerve because I think, John, this comes up a lot in our conversations over the past almost 2 years now of doing the podcast. And I think you're right. I think we keep, what's that definition of insanity, right? You keep asking the same question and keep doing the same thing, but expect a different response, but you keep doing the same thing. So to your point, right. And you got to change.
Is the biggest misconception that executives have about partnerships or channel in general? Because, as I've gone in and built programs for startups, like I want the executives to be in line with me. And if they're not, wow, that's a hard, hill you got to climb. So what do you think a big misconception with executives would be?
I mean, I can give you my input. What I see in a way is, I guess the leadership positions on running partner programs or channels has been evolving as well. What I see is probably in the past or even today, probably in hardware space, this remains. You have those type of profiles of executives that actually are coming from a lot of experience, a lot of relationships. So they have that kind of network built. They are really great at going into the big companies and have those big conversations. And that's perfect because you are a channel leader. But on the other side, I think there's another aspect that's kind of growing now. And back to what Charlie was talking about, that this kind of, let's just change the questions and just change behavior. It's about just, hey, it's not just about you meeting with big partners and talking to the board about the value of partners. It's about kind of having the muscle and the investment on your back to then you turn left and then you work with your team to make things happen. And I feel some of those leaders have been having those great conversations, but they're not as trained into getting the muscle to get stuff done, which primarily, in my view, today is invest in the right technology stack to run your program. Because, I mean, partners are more complex in nature right now. Technology is more complex, so you need more robust systems to operate and hire the right people. It's kind of, it's like, okay, even if you are selling this idea of working with partners to your leadership board and the board for the first time, this doesn't come with just hire like the first rep and partner manager, partner recruitment, partner activation, all in the same time with that same person. And then you even struggle to buy a PRM that's basic functionality for you to run. It's kind of, it's a full package. I mean, if you want to work with partners, there's a ramp up time, there's an investment, of course. And I don't have the latest numbers, but probably experts better than I are saying that partners can close revenue like twice as faster. I mean, the average deal is maybe 50% larger than if you go direct, and there's all those multipliers. But this is, I mean, if you don't make that investment initially, it's not just the headcount, it's like the extra money on the technology, the incentives, on all the other stuff. And then the last thing I'll include is, I think it's timing. Sometimes when you're just in the direct sales model, really you control everything. That's why you go direct. It's like you want to control the sales cycle. You get kind of, everyone follows you and obeys your orders. They're your employees. But when you work with partners, you need to say, okay, I'm going to lose part of the control. So the cycle, I'm not saying like the sales cycle per se, but I mean, you launch a new program, partners need maybe 6 months to even understand what you launched, what you did, how they will figure out their economics. So it needs 6 months. I was just saying, I mean, you need to give them time really to adopt whatever you're launching. I mean, even if the sales cycle is shorter, the time for partners to process the changes in the go-to-market, understand the opportunity, learn the product, plan their own, campaigns to go out into the market and then start producing results. That is, typically takes time. And you can't just think that because you launch a program, you're going to see the results in a couple months, because that's not how working with partners actually happens in real life.
No.
Yeah. And it's important to, the biggest misconception that I can think of is that executives think that it's about channel activity, right? How many enablements they've completed, how many portals, how many times have they logged into the portal, how many partners have we recruited? They need to understand that it's not about channel activity. It's about channel impact. What is the revenue that you're bringing me? What is the influence that you're actually impacting into that customer? How fast can you actually bring the deal with the understanding that we are working together and we are having those conversations? And I am, like Pablo just said, I'm giving you and I'm relinquishing my control because I trust that you are going to be able to bring that deal home without me being on top of it, right? So that is the biggest misconception, is they think that the more activity that the channel has, the better partner they are. And they could have all the check marks, but they're not bringing any revenue and they're not renewing any deals. So this is it's the biggest misconception.
100%. There's and I'm going to butcher this. What is it? I think it was Denzel Washington. You can run on a treadmill and show a lot of activity, but not go anywhere, kind of thing. Right. But no, and it's interesting. You're both your perspectives, I think, really resonate. And, I always tell people, look, it's 3 things for partners, right? They can help you bring deals. They can close deals faster. They can help you make deals bigger, and they can bring you more deals. That's really like the 3. And let's face it, there's a revenue component to all 3 of them. But I kind of want to pivot, because we had a great conversation the other day. And through that, I want to throw this question out to both of you, because do you think right now that we're entering kind of a golden age of partnerships? I know we just talked about, hey, we're having this conversation, but there's a shift. And I think with the current buzzwords of ecosystem and artificial intelligence, AI, right? are we moving into this new age of partnerships, or do we think that there's still, to your point, right, challenges that are facing organizations, and is there still going to be some disruption? Because AI is definitely having an impact. I just don't think people are looking at it in the right context or the right lens. I'm curious to get both of your perspectives on that.
That's a good question.
So I would say yes, we are. We're definitely in a new age of partnerships because of the fast change and fast shift from what it was traditional to everything that we're seeing today, especially around AI. But it goes back to the same thing. It is changing. We are getting into a new age, but we need to be conscious about how to understand how partnerships have moved from relationship management to revenue architecture, right? So the modern channel leader is not about just managing partners. It's about designing routes to market. It's about partner motions. It's about incentives, data flows, and all those things. Also,
Exactly.
as I mentioned just right now, activity is not impact. So we need to understand that. And the faster they do, it's actually how you're going to see that change. Third, and this is a topic of mine that I love, is AI will not fix the problem. It's not going to it's not going to fix a broken partner strategy. It's actually going to expose it. AI can help with a lot of things, but AI is not going to manage the relationship with the partner. It's not going to actually give explanation to the shareholders or the board meeting of why your partners are not bringing the revenue that they should. So it's very important to understand that AI, which is going to take over and is going to scale and is going to do a lot of great things for a lot of companies, but is not going to replace partner strategy. It is not going to replace the humans that actually, having those relationship with partners and creating those strategies around the partner program. Also, I think partner experience is now competitive advantage. And this is what I wanted to talk is Pablo and I, we are going to be launching a partner guide. It's a career partner guide for partner and channel people, because I think understanding how the impact that channel has and the partners have into an organization is very important. And then growing into that career, it's what's going to help organizations have a better competitive advantage, from other ones. And then the last one, I would say the best partner programs are simple, are measurable, and are built around
we're working with a few, I'd call them technologists that are trying to build platforms that kind of help, do what you're mentioning there. It's like, make it simple, but also measure the progress. And I love how you said, activity doesn't equal, results. The greatest quote I've ever heard was from John Wooden, and he said, "Never mistake activity for achievement." And I you see that with a lot of like younger channel people. I think just going out and being at bars for happy hours is like, hey, I'm doing my job, but it doesn't equate to anything. So I think you're spot on with that. But no, I think all those points were very valid, and we talk quite a bit on this show about those views.
We're going to give you the acronym SMO. Okay. Simple, measurable, and outcomes. SMO. There you go.
Correct.
Trademarking it right now. Verbal trademark. Okay.
Yeah. So maybe I'd like to pivot again to talk about the channel duo. I want to know more about that, because when we did our pre-work or pre-show discussions, Charlie, you talked a lot about that, and I think what you're doing is amazing. So why don't one or both of you give us an idea of what the channel duo is, what you're doing, and talk about this.
What's your mission? What's your mission and charter here? So.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go really quick, just a little funny story, and then I'm going to let Pablo go a little bit more, because I already did a lot of talking. But okay, so funny story is that when we were doing the pre-planning of this, that's when the name of the channel duo came up. You guys are the ones that gave me that idea.
Oh,
Because you were
great.
talking about having us both
Trademark.
and how is that going to work? And I told you, well, we're working together. We're doing this partnership of, trying to identify like what are the things that we can do to help in channels and help professionals understand how to scale the global partner programs and all those things. And then that's where I came. I'm like, oh, we're like the channel duo. So yeah, so that's the funny story is
Do we get a cut of the business since we helped find the name of it?
Yes.
John, I own the verbal
Are we
trademark.
like
I just verbal
equity
We couldn't
partners?
find a better name than the.
yeah, you're trying like it.
That's great. That's a great name.
Yeah.
No, I love
It
it.
is chef's kiss.
I love that.
That's a good
Wow.
name. Great,
But I'll
great
let
name.
Pablo go into a little bit more of what we're doing, what's our mission,
Mhm.
and what where are we going with this?
Awesome.
No, so I mean, this is a great introduction and the story of our name. And I'll say so. Personally, I started for kind of probably 5 years ago with a project that I call the Books of the Channel. That maybe you're aware. I started kind of sharing books
Yes.
from
Oh, yeah,
experts,
yeah.
try to share kind of knowledge and ideas, then turn it into developing some resources and assets and materials. But I mean, the spirit is really, I do see, and this is something we both agree on the partnership space. I mean, we run partnerships. We need to do partnerships ourselves. That's why we are a duo, and that's why you are also a duo as well. And I think there's a kind of a sense of community in the partnership space that I didn't see in other industries. I mean, if you go into any of the kind of partnership events out there, you name it, there's always kind of this idea where you're surprised, like these guys compete, like this is a top one vendor, and then this is a number two, and they're both in the same room. And I'm not going to say they're sharing their secrets, but they are having an honest conversation. And I think that applies across the board. I do think one of the reasons, or at least this is my perception, is that because there's
Right.
no kind of career path in a way that you go, I mean, and just go in the college or university, and there's a clear kind of linear path to becoming a channel or a partnerships expert. I don't know anyone with a PhD in partnerships, at least yet. That's why we kind of all come from different angles, different stories, like sales, marketing, product, engineering. Everyone comes with a different background, and you're trying to learn a lot of the skills and the trends through podcasts, through books, through conversations, in events. Some training has appeared, and there's some emerging kind of enablement. But that's why I feel that we are just so connected between each other, because we're all trying to know on the job or from peers, because there's no formal education. And that's kind of one of the reasons why we kind of come up with the channel duo. It's kind of put ourselves into that space, help our colleagues collaborate, kind of help others become better channel professionals. And of course, some of the kind of the mission statements that we are kind of work in progress right now. One is research around how you are more effective running partner programs. We are doing research on some of the AI vendors, like the Cloud Partner Program that just came up. OpenAI also launching a partner program. We know this is kind of hot in the market. Everyone needs to understand how these companies are going to operate in the channel. We are going to do research and review some of the technology that's behind how you run partnerships. For example, I mean, PRM is a category that's been there for some time, but I believe in one side, you still need a PRM first. But on top of the PRM, there's a ton of new tools, some based on AI that are coming to market. Some are being brought by people who have been living and breathing in this channel space for many years. And now, because the chance to launch a product is really bigger, and you don't need to spend like huge figure numbers to go invest and develop an app. Now we can do it. And it's the time to also kind of get our colleagues to know about it and start using them, because I think we could be doing a lot more with the tools we have now. And I do see, back to the earlier questions, is like some companies, probably like the bigger ones, are slower in adopting some of those new AI-based technologies and advancements. And then smaller, medium-sized, they're more agile, and they're adopting some AI-based tools much faster. And they're kind of doing onboarding, like deal registration, fully automated. There's no person reviewing every deal reg. I mean, there's a ton of things that are happening now, but the adoption is really diverse between small companies to large corporations, and that's kind of where we are now. And just trying to surf this wave of AI kind of going all over the place.
Boy, are you in the right place? You're talking waves. You're talking about the core foundation of why we started this podcast to help others. So like you're definitely in the right place today, Pablo and Charlie.
Yeah, I mean, and the reality is that I guess if I were to put it in like one focus is because Pablo and I have lived the pains and the struggles of managing partner programs, working with the partners, seeing the things that are not working, actually, being influencers in the purchasing of technology that is supposed to help us scale on those programs. What we want to do is like the research and the analysis that we're doing, it's from our point of view, knowing and understanding exactly what is needed and how we can actually offer a fresh and no strings attached relationship. So just like, hey, this is really what we see. This is what works, what doesn't work, how they're going to scale, what type of customers or what type of companies are going to really take advantage of this type of technology. And for example, we are working with our sponsor, Intro, in doing the first research analysis in their PRM. And they're the ones that are sponsoring our career guide. So, and we're very excited about that. And we're also very excited about the second research paper we're going to do on OpenAI partner program because it's launching soon. So we're going to give a little bit of this is what we think is happening and it's going to go and this is how it's going to evolve. And then when it comes out, then we're going to do other things.
Damn. Well, big shout out to Intro. I know we're both big fans of their solution and what they're doing.
Best PRM I've ever worked with. Best. And Andreas is great. He's a friend of the show, and we love him. So
and it's sickening how young he is, but I mean that in the most positive, collaborative way. So, but no, it's funny. I'm listening to both of you guys describe this. I mean, part of me is humbled because the more John and I have done these shows, and we get to meet people like you and we get to hear the stories, everybody's had their journey, everybody's had their battles, right? And when I listen to the mission and how you guys have come together, I mean, it's this interesting, the power of numbers, but it's the collaboration, right? In that shared perspective. And I'm seeing it. And if anything, people listen to this show, I mean, it's, you're going to have to go get some scars. You're going to have to go through some fire. You're going to have to go deal with some things. There is no, panacea. There's no rainbows and unicorns. You got to figure things out. And doing so, that's where you're going to learn. And I think it's super, super cool. And I love the book thing that you were doing. I mean, and sharing that because it is about helping others to figure out how to get to that next step or to overcome an obstacle. Mm-hmm. So I'll kind of throw a weird kind of a question. So what, if you could only choose one word, how would you describe a great partner ecosystem in a word?
In a word. Customer journey.
One. I know. And only because I asked somebody this that hyphenated. Got it. No, it's a hyphenated.
I think active. It's my word. It needs to be active. Otherwise, it's not an ecosystem.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say outcomes, Charlie. I thought you were going to say outcomes.
I used the word already.
But, no, and by the way, there's no wrong answer, but it's like anything. It's like when you're trying to, like, if you can bring it down to the simplest thing, and that's what I'm hearing. Like you guys are doing some really great stuff. I wanted to kind of hear a little bit more about the whole. You were putting together a list. So in addition to the books, you were putting together kind of a list of different systems. And I didn't know about the AI thing. I think that is going to be super cool. So you'll have to give us the information. And when we do post this, I would love to push that out there because I'm down the rabbit hole of AI. I've been for a while. It's great, but I also agree with something you said, Charlie. It's not necessary. It can make your bad things faster. So, figure out.
Well, if you follow Pablo on LinkedIn, he's been posting these lists, and he does a very good job. He gives like a very uh, succinct, brief overview of each technology and a link to their website. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, no, as I was saying earlier, I think there are a ton of new, not just around our own industry, like across the board, of course, now with AIs, the website, the app design tools, I think many more people are being able to launch businesses or bring functionality to life. I was listening to Elena Verna, who runs partnerships at Lovable. I don't know if you're familiar. Lovable allows you to kind of build websites.
Oh yeah.
Once you do it for the first time, then you can even make edits with like a voice message, like your ChatGPT or Claude. So it's great. I'm kind of both. We are using it, and she was saying like this is like the era of mom and pop SaaS, and I like that idea. It is like everyone now who's an expert on his field, call it partnerships or call it something else, because you are a great person running a specific shop. Now you can build an app, a tool, because you have the expertise. The challenge, in my opinion, is not only about developing the right product, which is still, a long journey and hard. But after that, you need to go to market. And that's exactly where we are as partnership professionals, which is, okay, you may have a great product, but now it's time to get it into the right hands of people who need it. So I think that kind of, this was Elena Verna's kind of point of view, which is the challenge now. There's going to be more tools coming up to market. Now you need to differentiate in the noise on the market, kind of how you earn, reputation, or how do you get people to adopt your technology, even if it's the best. And that's, I think, where, part of the channel duo and my own, idea is to share some of the cool stuff that are out there, because they solve specific problems and pain points that we have running partners, for sure.
Love it. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah. Well, so you mentioned this playbook you're building. I'd like to dig a little deeper into that. Like, for someone who's just getting into channels or wants to get into channel, is it designed for them to kind of get an understanding of what to expect and where to focus, or how would you like portray that to them?
So, well, the guide is more, it's not only for the people that are starting in the channel, but it's people that are already in the channel that may want to move vertically or horizontally.
Sure.
So it's a way, like, for example, I am a relationship person. I love managing relationships. I love talking to people. I'm a talker. So, I have managed a partner program. I understand the strategy. I understand what we need to do. And I think, I do very well in that, but I am better equipped to be, with the partners and actually managing the alliances and the relationships, right? So for a person that wants to be, in the field talking to the partners, then we have a guide that says, okay, if this is what you want, these are the skills that you should have innate, right? Your own skills, your soft skills, and these are the skills that you need to develop. These are the people that you need to talk to. We talk about what are the things that you should not do. What is it that is not part of your actual role, and you should be very careful, because if you start doing these things, you're kind of like going away from where you want to be. And then what's the next move? Do you want to go here, or do you want to go here? And that's so we have it for every single one. We have for channel managers, we have for operations, so channel operations, we have for channel marketing, we have for leadership. So like if you want to become a VP or a senior VP, or you want to be the CRO, because you can jump, and that's what exactly. So we've seen a lot of people that actually move from the partner program to CRO, because they have a very, very close connection, understanding like what is the revenue and what actually drives revenue in a company. So those are all the paths that we see. And we actually were very lucky, Pablo and I, that we were able to get a lot of people to bring us their own experience and quote what did they have experienced in those specific roles, and some recommendations on the things that they like, what they don't like about the roles. And those are real live people that you can connect with in LinkedIn, and that you can reach out if you want to hear more about their own experience. And we have that so people can actually understand that this was not done in AI. This was very well thoughts. This was, well, I mean, it's taken us what, 4 months about to come up with this guide, because it has taken the time to say, okay, let's really investigate, understand how to create a path for growth and success in the channel and make it available for everybody to see it, to have it, and to use it.
How does someone get their hands on that?
Well, because of intro, we're going to offer it for free. It's going to be downloadable in our website.
Okay.
But we're still not ready, so it will be. We will be announcing when it will be ready for download.
So find Charlie and Pablo on LinkedIn so you could follow along when they do the release. Do you have a channel duo page set up? There you go.
Yes, we do.
Damn. Hey, so I have a question for you guys, and I kind of want I can go two different ways here, but I do have a question, and so I'm curious about your perspective, because John and I do some work with our fractional business. So you have companies from outside the U.S. trying to come into North America, and vice versa. You have companies in North America maybe trying to go global. Where do you see as the biggest challenge, and what are the pitfalls and this can help channel people, because, you know, if somebody's working with a young, small startup in the US, like what do you see as some of the pitfalls or challenges when they're trying to build out in North America, or conversely, is it harder to go outside of the US into a global market?
So in my experience, I would say that, you know, outside the United States, well, the United States has their own model, I guess, and their own economy. And I think the biggest thing to come out is the difference in the economy, right? When you want to translate a partner program in the US, like coming from outside the US in the US, a lot of companies kind of not understand that there are certain things that partners are very used to do it in the way that they use business, or they do business here, that they don't do in EMEA or in APJ or in LATAM. APJ, LATAM, and EMEA, it's very relationship driven, very much so. So there is a lot of like there you can have those channel managers saying, I want to have some drinks with my partner, I'm doing my job. That really does count in those regions. And the United States is, you know, the no bull, get me to the deal. I want to close the deal. Just like, I want to understand what is it you need from me. Let's do this. So that is one of the biggest mistakes, I think, is that they think they can just copy and paste. In the same way from the US to companies outside, or putting their program, you know, internationally, the biggest one that I see is they keep the same prices as the United States in their price list. And then they just work it with discounts. And when you see they come and give a 75% discount, it makes absolutely no sense. I mean, business, if you think business impact, how do you go to your shareholders and say that you had to give every single deal in EMEA or Latin America a 75% discount or an 85% discount? That makes no sense. So, you know, work your price list, offer global partner program price list that actually makes sense and matches the economics of those countries.
That's a great
point. And kind of think a little bit more about like, how do you do the distribution led model, and what are the more service led options that you can have? And it's very different. So you actually need to understand, first of all, those regions, study them, hire the people that actually know how to work with those regions, and follow their advice, because we know what we're talking about because we have the experience. So I think that as
one of my kids would say, preach. I mean, I know, and I mean that. So we've had that conversation with companies, and you know, I think that to your point, they don't believe it, right? Or they're just like, you know, we know what we're doing, we're going to do it this way. And it's to your point, it's just different. It's like a different culture, it's a different ecosystem, like all those things play into it. And then you got to sit back and watch them make those mistakes. So and I know, and I just kind of want to be respectful of time and everything. So I don't know, John, did you have one final question that you wanted to throw out there before we
No, I was
wrap?
going to say we're coming up on the bottom of the hour, and we like to do. Jeff likes to do like a three or four takeaways, depending on how he feels today. But just kind of like takeaways on what the conversation had, and then what we like you to do is just kind of give the audience like how to connect with you, or what's what you're working on right now, and enlighten them a little bit.
So, all right. Well, I'll give my three. I was going to ask you guys for your advice, but if you can, when you do your closeout, what would be one piece of advice that you would give somebody in the channel today if you only had 30 seconds to talk to somebody? But I'll just tell you my top three takeaways, and I got some really good notes from this call. I've come up with three new acronyms. I've got my verbal trademark from the channel duo. But anyway, so in all seriousness, number one, partner programs. And you talked about this very early. It's something that's near and dear to John and I, which is, partner programs need to be built around the partner value, not just the vendor's goals. And I think that gets overlooked. And you got to build in those three things, right? Keep them measurable, keep it simple, and have your outcomes. I think the other thing that I kind of got towards the end here was channel leaders need to focus on impact, not activity. I mean, you guys mentioned that a couple of times, and I think it's, again, something that I think resonates. And it's just something that we need to keep telling people, and eventually they're going to get it, because if you look at the successful partners and businesses, they're leaning into that. And then the last one, which I just threw in at the last minute, which is, if you're doing anything global or you're trying to come into the US, do not copy and paste. Almost like a playbook. Just don't assume that your playbook worked here. It's going to work here. Just because you're working in one geo or one region doesn't mean you're going to work in this geo. So that was kind of my whole go-to-market thing, and make that execution part of that region. So
yeah, it sounds like the channel duo is trying to help people who are in the channel understand that better, right? So
absolutely,
they don't make the mistakes, which I really like. That's great. Well, I think this was an amazing conversation. Thank you so much for joining the show. And I know we've been waiting to do this for a while, and I'm glad we finally got it to happen. So Charlie and Pablo, how can people get in touch with you? What's important right now that you want to let them know about?
Well, I'll go first really quick so they can follow us in LinkedIn. We do have the Channel Duo page in LinkedIn, but we also individually. So, just under Charlie Coulange and Pablo Hanono. And I think really quick, what I think I would say is, stop using the word ecosystem so much and throwing it out there. And I know you mentioned that, Jeff.
It's a buzzword.
It's
right?
not because it's wrong. Exactly. It has become a buzzword, but it's not because it's wrong.
Correct.
It's because too many people are using it without explaining the business model behind it.
Yeah, that's great.
So, it's something that we need to really understand what we mean when we talk about ecosystems. So, yeah.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Love that. Pablo.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I'll give you my tagline to close, which it is: infrastructure is part of the strategy. So, as I said earlier, I think the leaders of the future and the present, they need to understand that running programs requires the right infrastructure. It's not just hiring people, it's investing in the right technology. We didn't have time to go through this, but I think the build versus buy, like, do I go third party or do I just develop my own tools? I think the leaders of the future understand that right now. The competitive advantage now with AI is just to really embrace some of these tools ASAP. That's what's really going to help you now. I have my own fears. It's like, if I don't just go really all full hands on AI and I don't have my army of agents to do my own work, I'm going to be out of the equation. I'm concerned with that as a professional. And I think everyone kind of is on a similar pace. It's like those who are adopting this new technology are kind of jumping ahead of the pack. And I think that's for me the other takeaways. Let's kind of invest in just kind of leapfrog this technology adoption to make us and help us be a lot more effective.
Awesome.
Great. Love that. Well, again, thank you so much for being part of the show. Please go out and follow the Channel Duo on LinkedIn so you can be advised and updated when their guide comes out, which I think is important for anyone who listens to this show to help them do their jobs better. So Again, thank you again for being part of the show. Jeff, as always, appreciate you being my co-host. If anyone wants to get in touch with me or Jeff, you can go to our website, thechannelsurfers.com. We can be emailed at john@channelsurfers.com or jeff@channelsurfers.com. We also have a LinkedIn page, The Channel Surfers. And we are also on all the podcasting services and YouTube. We have a YouTube channel. I did want to mention briefly our sponsor. We're sponsored by Extreme. And, if you're looking at, channel growth, only happens when partners stay engaged. This is something that's important. When you're trying to incentivize partners, you want them engaged. And nothing engages partners faster than getting paid accurately and on time. And that's why leading technology companies like Extreme are so important, and they help to manage commissions, MDF, and reimbursements, and they do it in over 140 currencies. So if you're looking for a program, a platform that can help you keep your partners engaged and keep them happy, go to extreme.com, xtrm.com, and give them a look, because they are an amazing company, and they have some amazing sales executives that we work with there. So extreme.com, check them out. Other than that, I think we had a terrific show, and I appreciate everybody's time. And we will have you on again soon. When the guide releases, please let us know. We'd like to have you on just to talk about the guide. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, everyone.
Pleasure.
Guys, really appreciate it today. Thank you.